In this story, you'll improve your English by learning new mystery-related words, analyzing clues, and solving a thrilling case. Listen carefully. Can you figure out the truth before the detective does? Lightning flashed across the night sky. The storm raged outside, rain hammering against the windows of Blackwood Manor. Inside, the grand mansion was eerily silent, except for the sound of footsteps echoing in the hallway. At exactly 11:45 p.m., a loud shout broke the silence. "No! The diamond! It's gone!" The guests rushed toward the study. Inside, standing in front of an open safe, was Mr. Henry Blackwood, his face pale with shock. The priceless blue star diamond had disappeared. But how? The safe was not broken. There were no signs of forced entry. Someone had opened it deliberately. The biggest mystery, the only clue left behind, was a queen of spades, playing card, on the desk. Detective James Carter arrived minutes later. He studied the scene carefully, then turned to the guests gathered in the room. "One of you is lying," he said. "The thief is still in this house. Pay close attention to the details. Can you solve the mystery before the detective? Let's begin." Blackwood Manor, an enormous Victorian mansion, stood alone on the edge of town. That night, 7 people had been in the house when the diamond disappeared. Here are the suspects. The guests. Mrs. Evelyn Rose, a glamorous actress with a history of financial trouble. Dr. Victor Green, a scientist who was fired by Blackwood years ago. Mr. Daniel Harper, a journalist writing an article on Blackwood. Miss Sophia Lane, a quiet librarian who loved solving puzzles. Mr. Charles Benson, a retired police officer, Blackwood's old friend. The staff. Thomas, the butler, a loyal servant who had worked for Blackwood for 20 years. The victim, Mr. Henry Blackwood, a billionaire businessman. But was he really a victim or hiding something? Vocabulary in context. Learn key mystery words. Before we begin questioning the suspects, let's look at some important mystery words that will help you understand the story. Alibi, proof that someone was somewhere else at the time of a crime. Example, "I was in the lounge all night. That's my alibi," said Evelyn. Motive, a reason for committing a crime. Example, "Who had a motive to steal the diamond?" asked the detective. Red herring, a false clue meant to mislead. Example, "The playing card could be a red herring," whispered Sophia. Interrogation, questioning someone to find out the truth. Example, "It's time for the interrogation," said James. Suspicious, causing doubt or distrust. Example, "Doctor, Green's behavior was suspicious," thought James. Now, let's start solving the case. The interrogations begin. Who is lying? Detective James Carter decided to question each person to see if their stories matched. First, the butler, Thomas. "I was in the kitchen preparing dessert." "I never left," Thomas said firmly. Alibi, "No one saw him." Suspicious detail, "Someone heard footsteps in the hallway near the study." Mrs. Evelyn Rose, the actress. "I was admiring the paintings in the lounge. Why would I need to steal? I have my own jewelry." Alibi, "The butler saw her." Suspicious detail, "She was seen near the study before dinner." Dr. Victor Green, the scientist. "I was in the library reading," he said. Alibi, "No one saw him." Suspicious detail, "A paper with the initials VG was found inside the safe." Mr. Daniel Harper, the journalist. "I was taking notes in my room. I heard a noise, but I didn't see anything." Alibi, "No one saw him." Suspicious detail, "His notebook was missing pages. What was he hiding?" Miss Sophia Lane, the librarian. "I was solving a crossword puzzle in the lounge," she said. Alibi, "The butler saw her." Suspicious detail, "The puzzle was unfinished." Mr. Charles Benson, the retired officer. I was playing chess with Blackwood before bed. I went straight to my room. Alibi, Blackwood confirmed it. Suspicious detail, Blackwood doesn't remember playing chess that night. Mr. Henry Blackwood, the billionaire. I was asleep in my room until I heard the alarm. I rushed to my study and found the safe open. Alibi. No one can confirm. Suspicious detail. Only he and the butler knew the safe's code. Detective James frowned. One of you is lying. But who? What do you think? The hidden clues. The truth is near. Detective James examined the study again. He found a glass of spilled wine. But Blackwood never drinks wine. The Queen of Spades playing card. Is it a message or a red herring? A hidden fingerprint on the safe's keypad. Who does it belong to? A loose floorboard near the safe. Is something hidden underneath? James took a deep breath. The pieces were coming together. But before the truth was revealed, he wanted to hear your final guess. The hidden clue, a secret beneath the floorboards. Detective James knelt beside the loose floorboard near the safe. Carefully, he pried it open. Inside, he found a small velvet pouch. Holding his breath, he opened it. The blue star diamond was inside. The guests gasped. The diamond was never stolen, Mrs. Evelyn whispered. James stood up, examining the reactions. Someone in this room had hidden the diamond, but why? Think like a detective. Why would the thief steal the diamond, but hide it in the same room? Did they plan to retrieve it later? Were they framing someone else? The detective wasn't convinced the case was solved yet. No, this mystery isn't over, he said. Someone in this room knows exactly how the diamond got here. Breaking the alibis. Who is lying? James went over each suspect's story again, searching for contradictions. Thomas, the butler, said he never left the kitchen, but someone heard footsteps. Mrs. Evelyn Rose said she was in the lounge, but was seen near the study before dinner. Dr. Victor Green claimed he was in the library reading, but his initials were inside the safe. Mr. Daniel Harper said he was in his room taking notes, but his notebook was missing pages. Miss Sophia Lane claimed to be doing a crossword puzzle, but the puzzle was unfinished. Mr. Charles Benson said he played chess with Blackwood, but Blackwood didn't remember that. Mr. Henry Blackwood said he was asleep until the alarm sounded, but only he and the butler knew the safe's code. James tapped his chin. The real thief had slipped up somewhere. The unexpected twist, a new suspect emerges. Just as James was about to speak, a sudden knock came at the door. The housekeeper, Margaret, entered, her face pale. "Sir, I overheard something strange." Everyone turned to her. "Earlier in the evening, I heard Mr. Blackwood on the phone. He said something about an insurance policy and making sure everything was handled before the guests arrived." James narrowed his eyes. "Mr. Blackwood, were you planning to fake the robbery for an insurance claim?" The room fell silent. Blackwood swallowed hard. "Ridiculous," he scoffed. "Why would I steal my own diamond?" James took out a small dusting kit and swiped the safe's keypad for fingerprints. The result? Only 2 sets of fingerprints were found. One Blackwood's, 2, Thomas, the butler's. James smirked. Only 2 people knew the safe's code, and one of them is lying. The final reveal. The real culprit. James looked at Thomas, the butler. "You were in the kitchen all night, right?" Thomas nodded nervously. "Yes, sir." "Then how did your fingerprints end up on the safe?" Thomas's face turned white. James stepped forward. "You helped Blackwood stage the robbery, didn't you? But then something went wrong." Blackwood's eyes widened. "Thomas, you didn't—" Thomas collapsed into a chair, shaking his head. It was just supposed to be a plan. Blackwood told me to hide the diamond in the floorboard so he could claim insurance money. But then I saw how easily he could blame it on me. Everyone gasped. I panicked. I left the Queen of Spades card as a distraction, but I never got the chance to move the diamond again. The aftermath? Justice served. James turned to Blackwood. Your plan to commit insurance fraud failed. You lied, you manipulated, and you almost got Thomas arrested. Blackwood slumped in his chair. He had lost everything: his reputation, his friends, and soon his fortune. As for Thomas, he had gone along with a crime, but James believed he had acted out of fear. The police would decide his fate. The Blue Star Diamond was returned to its rightful place, but Blackwood Manor would never be the same again. James gave one last look at the playing card on the desk. Even the cleverest criminals always leave a clue. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the mystery. Did you solve the case before the detective? Let us know in the comments. Who did you suspect and why? If you enjoyed this story and want to improve your English with more thrilling mysteries, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next mystery.